Jake Rahman here again, and we're here for the third instalment of Between Two Simulators. We're here sitting between the two eminent simulators, and today with us we've got a really great guest, Philip Wortham, okay, sim tech extraordinaire, and we want to find out more about what sim techs do. Phil, great to have you here. Thank you very much for coming along.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
No problem, no problem. So you and I have got something in common. So you started out as a graphic designer or in arts.
Yep.
I was a graphic designer. My path to doing what I do now is taking me all over the place. How did you end up becoming a sim tech?
You know, it was really by accident. So I did start in the arts. I went to school for video production and motion graphics and really loved it. I spent 10 years in Denver building graphics and really needed healthcare insurance. So I found a film job within Denver Health Medical Center, and working with PR and marketing and doing some other things. And that's how I fell into healthcare. I saw the Denver Health paramedics practicing on, I didn't even know what the hell it was at the time, but practicing on a mannequin, and I got really intrigued. And that's where my mind went. That's production. I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, so you fell into it, kind of. Okay. Yeah. Is there anybody, you know, along the way that you'd like to give a shout out as a hero in simulation that inspired you to get more involved?
You know, there's a couple heroes. My first one is I got the chance to meet Dan Raymer, and I don't know if you know Dan Raymer, out of Boston.
Yep.
This was early on in my career. I was a sim tech. And I was really frustrated because I'm non-clinical and I felt like I didn't have a voice and I didn't know where my career was going to go and how do I really fit into this landscape. Dan Raymer is also non-clinical. He's an engineer, but he's one of the biggest names in healthcare simulation. And he inspired me to stay put, stay with it, because we're all patients, right? We all have a story. We all have the ability to help out. And that's what I remember that all the time. That's what keeps me doing what I do.
Yeah. And so, I mean, what excites you about being a sim tech? Why should other people choose a profession as a simulation technician?
Yeah. First and foremost, I think the thing that's interesting is you have the ability and the power to drive patient safety and quality. Even though you may not be touching patients at all or working with actual patient care, you have the ability to really drive innovation and help with patient safety. But it's also one of those positions or those careers where it's all over the place. And so as a film guy that's got a lot of energy, I love doing different things all the time. I love innovating, I love designing, creating, running technology, and being a sim tech or a simulation specialist lets you do that, right? There's times where you look at your career and you go, they pay me to do this? I mean, it's awesome.
That's brilliant. I mean, to see your passion coming through, this is what, you know, makes medical simulation, healthcare simulation overall exciting.
Absolutely.
You know, so you've been in the game for since 2011, yeah?
About 2011, so pushing about 15 years.
Wow. What do you think has changed in the role of a simulation technologist in that time? How it's developed?
You know, a lot I think has changed in the role of being a sim specialist or sim tech, really for the positive. You know, starting off in simulation, even in 2011, it was still pretty new industry. And there's a lot of opportunity for somebody like me, who's non-clinical, to have a voice and to help out. Sim specialists back in the day were always welcome at the table, but weren't part of the education team, right? You do technical stuff. You work with mannequins and that's your lane. And now it's really broadened where you're welcome to bring input, build scenarios. A lot of sim techs are debriefing in certain circumstances. And it's really meaningful because you are a patient, right? You do have your life experience that you can put into simulation and advance the field. That's a small piece, but even the growth of something like the simulation societies around the world. you used to go to the first conferences and they were super small, and now there's so many people you can't even, it's cognitive overload.
It's growing, isn't it?
It's growing so much.
It's growing. And I've always felt that simulation technicians have more influence over the clinical teams and educators than people might otherwise celebrate, if you like.
Yeah.
How do you think you're influencing these, the clinical providers, the educators, etc., not only with the service you provide, but also as well from a product selection?
Yeah, so that's a very great question. It's, you look at sim specialists and they are the constant in a sim center or a sim program. You have faculty, adjunct faculty, facilitators, educators that may or may not be full-time, and they're in and out all over the place. And you have the one constant, which is that sim specialist, which could be part-time or full-time. And so there's a lot of influence that you have on what simulation you're running, what mannequins you need, what you need to purchase. It used to be that you'd come and you see a shiny object or a mannequin and say, I'm going to buy that. That's what we need. Or the educators would do that. This is what we're going to buy. And as the sim tech, you step back and you go, well, but it doesn't meet any of our learning objectives. The technology is going to be hard to deal with. Preventative maintenance is hard. And so you have the ability to sway decisions now, right? Let's look at it as a global approach instead of it's a cool shiny object. It gives birth in a different way. Okay, does it?
Yeah.
Right. So
absolutely.
It's nice to have your place at the table, be able to help influence the education side.
Yeah. I mean, that's really good because from a practical level, simulation technicians, with regard to their influence and the choosing of products, is really, really important. And do you ever get frustrated with people where their expectations are too high with regard to realism?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We say suspend disbelief all the time as a joke, but it's true that there's a big gap on people's expectations, right? You're not working on an actual human being unless you're working on it with a cadaver, right? And so you have to set your standards a little lower, knowing that it's not all real, and that's okay.
Yeah, and so managing your expectations from your point of view is easy or difficult, or
it depends. So if you look at the educators, a lot of them we can manage their expectations, right? They know, they've worked in simulation and done some things. Sometimes it's the participants, right, that you have to manage their expectations. So you see a lot in simulation where they'll stop and say, wait, can I do this to the mannequin? And you go, just do it. And if you're going to break it, I'll tell you, you're going to break it. Don't do that. And so it is managing everybody's expectations, from the educator to sometimes sim specialists are even the same way, all the way to the learners.
Fantastic. And I've been reading a little bit about Sonnet. Sounds great thing. Tell us more about it. What's it all about?
So we started this about a year and a half ago. So Sonnet was developed to help simulation specialists grow in their careers. So what we've seen is you're a sim tech, you're hired, and you're kind of stuck. Everybody across the field is paying a different wage to folks like us. And so you could say, I'm working here, I'm making X amount of money an hour, but I can go over here and I can double that. And you're doing the exact same job, but it's called something different, right? And so the goal with it is, how can we level the playing field in the sense of you're a sim tech, we need to fix the naming of who we are and what we do, the basic expectations on the job description, and then pay for the most part is about the same. So you're going to move to different states in the United States if you're here, and of course you're going to get paid more depending on cost of living, but it shouldn't be this massive gap. For example, there are sim specialists that make $20 an hour. It's an okay rate. You can do the same job, let's say in Washington State, making $90 $80,000 a year.
Wow.
And why is that? Some of it is cost of living, but a lot of it is because we haven't been on the same page.
Yeah.
We don't need to create our own, design our own things all the time in simulation, right? We always want to be proprietary. This is what we've done. Let's globally get together and solve some of these problems.
Yeah. I mean, this is, again, just going back in history, from a personal experience.
Yeah.
When I was in my first commercial job, one of my customers asked me to write a job description of a sim tech.
Yeah.
And I don't even have that now, but it was quite thin.
Yeah.
But I guess it's really, really broad now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they'll do, it's very thin, and the bottom it's other duties as assigned, and then HR departments don't have the ability to compare and contrast because they're so simple.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of work nationally going on, even outside the SONAT, that is to help drive that part of the industry forward in a meaningful way. And what's nice is it's the people that work as sim techs or sim ops that are pushing that work forward, so that we know that we are compensated the way that we need to be, and that we can transfer our knowledge and our expertise to another facility. Because job descriptions and everything just match. They're close.
Fantastic. So some sort of form of regulation within that is
Absolutely, and I think it's drastically needed for sure.
Yeah.
We love simulation because it's the Wild West. We get to innovate and design and create, but there's some things that need to fit in a certain mold or a lane.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm interested in your career in motion graphics, and then obviously knowing probably a bit more about VR and AR than some people would. Do you think we're using it properly in healthcare education? Do you think there's still a story to be written?
There's definitely still a story to be written with, especially AR and VR, XR technology. I mean, I don't think we're fully there. It's one of those technologies that can advance and should.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're using it to its full capacity either. So you see a lot of, let's say, nursing schools. They'll purchase a headset and they use it for really basic stuff that you could do without that technology. It saves in operation cost in a sense, because you don't have to have so many consumables and you can run the same case over and over. But is that the best way to use AR or VR? I don't believe so. I've had the opportunity to go to military conferences and see some of the most advanced augmented virtual reality haptics that they have. And the future is awesome, especially for healthcare, because now you can touch and feel and move things. You're placing a chest tube, you feel that placement of the chest tube, you hear it, it's fully immersive, right? And I think once we can advance those technologies outside of the military and further them into what we do in healthcare, it'll be a massive game changer.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly exciting what's coming out there. I mean, but apart from the initial wow, how do we? The question is how do we get VR and AR in regular use within schools and universities around the world?
Some of the technology is lacking, in my opinion, the ability to collaborate with other learners.
Yeah.
So you can, in a sense, but when you train as clinicians, we do team training, right? That's the most important. So if I can't communicate and see somebody that I'm training with, there's a little bit of a factor that's missed.
Yeah,
I do. There is some technology out there that's good, right? It's working. There's some applications that are really on the edge of like just making it happen, but I think we're still just slightly off.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I embrace it.
Yeah.
We need to push it forward quicker.
Exactly. I think so too. And finding a way to make sure it's fitting in properly.
Yeah.
And celebrating those people that have adopted it properly.
Yeah.
I think is really, really important.
Yeah. I just heard of a program that is using VR for their pre-read or pre-education before they come to simulation.
Wow.
So they use it to practice skills and tasks and checklists before they even come into the center. And then when they get to the simulation center, they're ready to just go. And I thought, it's such a simple thing.
Yeah.
You know, I never really thought about using it as a pre-tool before they even get to you. And how cool is that they can do it from home?
I think that's a fantastic way.
Yeah.
And, just a couple more questions. First of all, you know, how can we in industry here make your job easier as a simulation tech?
You know, this is a really good question, and I'm highly opinionated about this, so I apologize.
What we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The technology that is out is really awesome, but the challenge is there's a lot of vendors within industry that don't listen to the customer when they build and design things. And so, you know, you might have a mannequin that is amazing, but it's missing the one feature I need, like femoral pulses, let's say. For 10 years, you ask this certain vendor for femoral pulses, and it doesn't happen. That's not innovating and designing, and that means the tool that isn't working for the people that are using it, right? Now, in the industry, there's companies that are really amazing that have come from simulationists that have run sim. They know, they understand what you need and are building their own products, and that's going to push us forward.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And we need that. We need that feedback.
Yeah.
We need to be more responsive in the industry, and that's fantastic to hear.
So we say you could have a vendor sim center relationship, but really it should be a partner relationship, right? You're not a vendor and we do our thing and you do your thing. We're together in this, right? It's a party.
That's brilliant. So we've gone through the time really quickly. It's been lightning speed. We've got so much information at you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming. I've got something for you actually.
Oh.
Before you leave, you can take with you. Hold on, it might be underneath here.
Is it $1 million?
Oh no, it's not $1 million.
Oh.
It's a very rare thing.
Okay.
It's a simulation collected cup, and I hope you can drink some coffee.
Oh, this is great.
During your coffee break.
Is it censored or can I show it?
You can show it.
Oh, look, this is awesome.
Yeah, no problem, man.
I should have done the whole interview like this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll be back later on, guys. Thanks very much.